Hello everybody and welcome to the very first Toyah at Home from the Old Mill. So today we are featuring the re-release of an album that is very precious to me. It holds many precious memories, and that is the 1983 album Love Is the Law, which was made while I was starring in London in a play called Trafford Tansey about a female wrestler. So this meant that I had to work on Trafford Tansey in the daytime. I did 6 shows a week. The show would get me to the theatre at about 4:30 in the afternoon, and then I'd leave the theatre at about 10:30, 11 o'clock, go straight to the Marquee Studios and record what was written that morning in my home with Joel Bogan and Simon Darlow. Now, believe it or not, this was one of the happiest times of my life. I love total immersion into projects and getting lost in the project, and this fantastic time in my life could only be called total immersion. From the moment I got up, I was writing in the home studio in Whetstone in Barnet, and then I would go onto the theatre after an hour's sleep in the afternoon, do the play, which I loved, and then be taken to the Marquee Studios to work till about 5 in the morning. It was a really busy time, but I think it created a very exciting and satisfying album. There's so much about this album that reflects the time. There's strong, strident guitars, but there's also highly developed keyboards as well from Simon Darlow. And this was such an exciting time in music when bands became a bit more guitar, but they used the synthesizer and keyboards to create this cinematic sound. So you have very kindly sent in some of your questions, and I'm going to answer them as well as I can remember, but also tell you the stories that still very much resonate in my heart. So Hugo and Samantha Jones, you ask, what was the creative process like? And Samantha, you very and quite rightly say that I have cited the making of this album as the happiest time of my life. Well, the process, we decided, because I had gone on quite a tangent since doing The Changeling, and during the making of Love is the Law, I decided to star in a very special play by Claire Luckham, which was the beginning of a very creative and long relationship with Claire as a playwright. I went on to do her play The Choice, and she just led me into some great acting work. And I just felt, when I saw Trafford Tansy, which was already running all over the country, I had to be in it. And the time I went into this play, Debbie Harry opened it in New York, and another really well-established world singer was opening it in Japan. And I just felt so honoured to be asked to be the lead name in London. And again, I adored doing Trafford Tansy. It invigorated me. I love being incredibly physically involved in projects. And Trafford Tansy kind of relied on me to do judo, to do wrestling, to do kickboxing. And it was a toughie, but it was fabulous, and it was so rewarding for me. We did it at the Mermaid Theatre, and very quickly an encampment formed at the Mermaid Theatre of about 300 fans who slept outside and put tents outside and were there 24 hours a day. But for me to be able to do an album, Joel Bogan and myself decided that we wanted to bring Simon Darlow on board as a co-writer. And I first came together again with Simon Darlow on The Changeling. Now you've got to remember, my first ever professional song was written with Simon Darlow when I was 18 and he was 17. Our manager at the time, Howard Abrahams, put us together at his flat in Putney and just told us to get writing. And I think we wrote a song called Sunshine or Rainbow Lullaby. I mean, it was truly verging on nauseating, but it was the beginning of a fantastic relationship. So the creative process, Hugo and Samantha, for Love is the Law was we built a home studio in what we called my gym at my home in Whetstone. And Simon Darlow moved in. Joel was only living down the road, literally 500 yards away. And every morning we'd meet up at 10 a.m. and we would just write. And it was very easy writing with these two very brilliant men in the room. We loved every moment, we were experimental, but the one thing we did know was we wanted to develop guitar riffs, and we wanted to develop this broad cinematic sound for this album, and then do lots of vocal layering where the voices were moving more into electro 80s than they were rock 80s. But we were combining these beautiful elements that we've learned from Steve Lillywhite on The Changeling. Our next batch of questions ask mainly about the image presentation. And this is what we're going to call the visuals. Chris Butler-Tarot, you say the presentation of the images on this album is a vast departure from Anthem, even Sheep Farming in Barnet, Blue Meaning, and certainly from The Changeling. I wanted something more empowered, but a little bit more on that in a minute. Marsha Vincent, you say, why did I choose the fencing masks? And Mark Evans, hello Mark, how are you? Where is the Rebel Run outfit now? So let's go back to Chris's question. These visuals were so different, let's say, to Anthem, which was based on a painting and it was very much based on fairy lore. Then in The Changeling, it was still about fairy lore and being out of place. With Love is the Law, by the time this came out, MTV was one of the most powerful things in the world, and image became even more important. But what I wanted to present to this was probably a bit of a hangover from doing Trafford Tansy, where I played an empowered, tiny female wrestler who took on the world. So I wanted to present something that had that element of where movies were moving at the time. When you look at Tron, when you look at Close Encounters, when you look at E.T., we were moving into this very romantic science fiction era where technology was starting to enter our lives in a way it hadn't up until the 80s, with mobile phones and the prediction that we were going to have things in our hands that would give us visuals into connecting people visually, and connecting with other people through heartbeat, heart rate. Everything was going to be monitored. Now, it was still far off and computers were still in development. And I remember computer code being written in the 70s. So by the 80s, we were still we just hadn't moved forward in a way that everyone could afford a computer or have a computer. These were things in the banks at NASA and huge rooms, storerooms all over the city of London. But we were all dreaming about the future in 1983. And this is where this imagery came from, that life is a game and this person is the winner. And as for the fencing mask, well, I've always loved fencing masks because when I was at drama school, I learnt how to fence, and I was very proud of the fact that it was something I picked up with the greatest of ease. Now, Mark Evans, you ask, where is this outfit now? Well, it's stored in my costume archive, and it was made by Swanky Modes, who I have just worked with the designer on Sewing Bee last year, which I won, and it was so lovely to see Esme again. But this was all made specifically. It's Perspex, which sadly is starting to disintegrate, which is why I keep it all in the costume store now to cause less damage to it. Swanky Modes and Esme made all of the padding, all of this kind of very soft tubing. Now, interestingly, we had to make 2 masks. Now, these are bronzes. These were cast, and it was the most expensive part of the costume. So the first cast of this headdress, which you can see better here, and these photos are by John Swinnell, the first cast was solid brass. It was far too heavy to wear, so they made a hollow version, which I took to the stage with me. It did me less damage. When I wore the very solid version, I used to get bruises all over my face because it was so heavy. But I am looking after this costume with love, and it will go to the V&A. Next group of questions is about the songs, and Michael Murray, you ask about the song Remember and where did it and how did it come about. Well, I turned 25 while doing Trafford Tansy and Making Love Is the Law, and I think 25 is a bigger turning point in your life than becoming 30. Now, I never romanticized about life past 30. I thought it would be over, and I just didn't focus on it at all. But I found the shift in me at the age of 25. I suddenly felt I was an adult, and that feeling became like a mourning of the rebel in me. Not that I changed from being a rebel, but I started to feel as though I was on the other side of a line of time, moving away from everything I did as a punk rocker and moving away from everything I felt I achieved in the 80s. And it was quite a strange feeling. And the line, you ask, no one gets out of here alive, is actually a quote from Jim Morrison of The Doors. It's a really famous line that he said that just gave me chills when I first heard it. No one gets out of here alive. And it's that thing of the next part of the journey when you're still young enough to hold on to the dream of immortality but becoming aware of mortality. And Remember is very much about that. And it's slightly, looking at the lyrics afresh, I mean, it took me aback. Everything and everyone I have ever loved has been taken from me. Well, that's really dramatic, and I obviously felt like that at the time. I'm not taking it anymore. Can someone save me from walking out the door? Well, that means just from walking away, from facing something, which is really about immaturity. I think as I've got older, I face everything immediately. Someone grab my arm before I do what I regretted before. Remember the past. Remember our song. Remember when the days were so long. Remember our vow will never die. Remember we prayed to the mountains high. Well, remember our vow is actually reflecting upon the song, The Vow, which hadn't been written at this point, but I fell in love with the word and the promise of a vow. And then remember we prayed to the mountains high is about thunder in the mountains. It's just referencing that phenomenal song. I've just listened to this in order to answer your question, Michael, and there's some incredible moments in it. That incredibly long note that is the dramatic build. It's beautiful. And then, of course, the demented whisper at the end. No one gets out of here alive. It's really lovely, and thank you for making me listen to it again. David Anning. Toyah, do you remember your thoughts and feelings behind the ethereal song Dreamscape? Yep, I just wanted something that a listener would be alone in their room, listening in the dark, and this song, Dreamscape, would take you to another state, another place in time, and a completely out-of-body experience, which is what I wanted. And Nick Tauber, bless him, he got that. He just got it. It's a beautiful build, and so did Simon Darlow get it too. Alan, Alpha, which is your favourite on the album? It's always been I Explode because I love performing that live, but I have to say I adore Martian Cowboy. We released a couple of weeks ago a live performance of it at the O2 Islington. Oh, I just love Martian Cowboy. It's stunning. Desert home, my Martian cowboy, let me hold your hand. Down the freeway rolls a wayward beer can, and a desert hound carries decaying memories away for the dogs to sense another day. Hold me in your arms. This planet is far from Mars. Let's just hold hands for now, and we'll take it as it comes. Celestial stowaway, my Martian cowboy, come again another day. Till then, we're just a star away. We're now going to talk about the video. Now, all I can remember about the video is we actually shot it after I'd finished Trafford Tansy, which gave me a lot more time to focus on getting the photos done for the album artwork, getting the video done. Now, I remember it was quite a challenging day. I was attempting to roller skate, something I have never been brilliant at. But when we first put me in the harness to do the turns, I had the roller skates on and they threw off my center of gravity. So I have quite a low center of gravity because I don't have long legs. But when I went into the harness, we discovered if I had the roller skates on, I didn't have the central core strength which you have to have when you turn, where you just pull yourself in and that force makes you turn in the harness. It was quite challenging, but everything else was shot on green screen and it was shot in long perspective with me coming towards the camera, going away from the camera, and I just had to trust that the camera was capturing what I was looking for, which was this kind of not video game, because we still really didn't have the video game culture as big as it is today back in 1983. But I wanted something that I was doing and playing to save my life. That was the feeling. This was a life challenging event that I was taking part in. So we used perspective, we used neon light, and then we used slow down motion of me turning. But I found it quite challenging. Noel Barron, you said at the time, preparing and training to do the cartwheels and the backflips for the Rebel Run video, can you remember the effect I was aiming for? Well, I was just aiming to be in another time, another place, a couple of 100 years in the future, when life is potentially taking place within AI, even though we didn't know what AI was in 1983, but within the video world, within the world that wasn't an organic world. And that's what we were aiming for. And I hope we kind of hit it, really. So it's quite a moody, dark video. Brian Charles Green, if you had to reshoot Rebel Run today, how would you storyboard it? I would probably have more action. This was quite a quick shoot. I think it was a 12-hour shoot. I would have a much more high-tech outfit on because we've got all that technology now. And of course, we have AI now. We have computer-generated images. It would be so much more sophisticated today. But I think I would definitely go for the same concept, but I would give it another planet feel. So there'd be outdoor sequences where you would see the sky has two suns, and then on a 160-degree turn you would see the sky has 4 moons. And I would take us through sunset, moonset, and just have much more visuals about being off planet on another world.
Behind the settling tents, the dogs are bent, wakes the usual
how are you? Now, you quite rightly flagged up on the 1983 tour, I didn't use a hand mic. I used a mic that was on a headpiece and just came round to the front. Now, that was very challenging at that time. These mics tended to overload, and I have quite hard-hitting syllables, and I also have a lisp. So it was challenging. When I went into the big chest voice, I couldn't pull off the mic, so I always overloaded the mic. And I think by the end of the tour, we probably went back to handheld mic. These microphones are so much more sophisticated today. They have sophisticated compressors, which we didn't have back then. So everything was like a work in progress on that tour, but it did free me up to move and be more expressive. I don't use mics like that anymore. I like the good handheld, where when I go for a big note or when I'm having to hit a very high note and I'm not confident on its complete tuning, either in the middle or the end or the beginning, I can take that mic away until I feel confident about the tuning. Everything we did in 1983 was exposed because the mic was there. So Phil, I don't think I'll be going back to that. We are on to the singles, which is really exciting. And Richard Fothers, you say Love is the Law has so many potential singles on it. I agree. I think it's a really great album that holds out today brilliantly. What would be your favorite to have released as a single? Okay. Oh, I always felt that Time Is As is just a really great pop song. That would make a good single. I adore Martian Cowboy. I pray that one day it gets picked up in a movie, because I can just see the director making a scene around the song, and the song just builds and builds and builds, and visually it would build as well. If Martian Cowboy got used in a movie or in a sci-fi series, then we could release it as a single. I adore that song. Julie Wheeler, hello Julie, you say thank you for spending so much time with the fans at Trafford Tansy. Well, thank you to the fans for virtually moving in on the Mermaid Theatre and for coming and singing on Love is the Law, because a lot of the fans would follow me to the Marquee Studios and we had so much fun. It was really a gorgeous summer and it was so special. Which song off the album would I like to make a video for? Yeah, I Explode. I love performing I Explode. It becomes so possessing. And when I sing it, and I think it's because I have to breathe so deeply to be able to sing what's required of me on that song. I remember doing it live in the studio. We got it in one take. It was a killer, an absolute killer. But when I do it live, I am possessed by it. Utterly possessed, and I think that affects the room, it affects the audience. I mean, can you imagine making a video about this intense anger that turns into a magical power where you just metamorphise into something else? It's such an exciting prospect. I would love to make a video for that one, Julie. Thank you for your question. Dean Beadle, how did it feel releasing a ballad? Now, Dean, you're referring to The Vow. I wanted to release something that was completely on a tangent to anything else we'd ever released. And of course, we had It's a Mystery, which is very close to a ballad, even though it's in 3/4 timing, which is a waltz, I believe. The Vow was a brave one to release, but I felt I needed to make a statement as an artist that I was maturing, that this was, which album was Love is the Law? Okay, we had Sheep Farming and Barnet Blue Meaning, Anthem, Changeling, We won't put Toyah, Toyah, Toyah in there and then love it. It's my 5th album. There's a maturity in that. And I wanted this single, The Vow, to reflect on humanity, about love, about vulnerability. And Dean, you pick up on that it has a stunningly vulnerable feel about it. It's about love and grief. And Christmas for some people isn't always happy, and I wanted The Vow to capture the passion and the need for us as human beings, as a race, to show love and to give love, because I believe love is a compass that connects all time and connects us to our ancestors and to our future ancestors, and The Vow very much is about that. And finally, we have come to the last question in this Love is the Law, Toyah at Home from the Old Mill. Lance's Guy, I hope I've got that right, it's a name I've not seen before. Has my perspective changed on this album over time? What did you take from creating it that influenced your later work? I love the collaboration on this. It was a real tight 360-degree collaboration between Joel, Simon Darlow and myself. And when I wrote Posh Pop with Simon Darlow, we kept it tight. And Love is the Law was very tight. We just kept the relationship tight, and we were loyal to each other. We listened to each other's ideas. We acted on each other's ideas. Simon brought his incredible ability of arranging and playing keyboards into the room. Joel brought his incredibly powerful guitar riffs and arranging into the room, and I brought into the room the imagery and the lyrics and the top line melodies, but Simon helped influence those top line melodies as well, because Simon is extraordinary with harmony, as you can hear on Posh Pop and on In the Court of the Crimson Queen. For me, that tightness kept a purity in the writing. The tangents didn't go off too far. We didn't get distracted by different styles. It's a very focused, specific album, and I trust that and believe in it. Over time, has my perspective changed on it? I'm still very much in love with the songs. Broken Diamonds is beautiful. I Explode is so expressive. It's perfection. Rebel of Love is mysterious, impenetrable, which I like. Rebel Run, a great song to perform live because the bass on it is stunning, is absolutely stunning. Martian Cowboy, I will love that forever. Dreamscape, beautiful. Time Is Ours, beautiful pop song. Love is the Law, just a really nice, clever song and a play on an Aleister Crowley line, Love is the Law. Remember, really powerful, almost like The Who meets Pet Shop Boys, almost. And then you have The Vow, which is a protest song, and it's a song about our ability and our strength to love, and that we should love more than we hate, because hate destroys lives. It's a really lovely album, and I'm so excited it's got its re-release. You're going to get a beautiful package, everyone. Now we're going to play out with a version of The Vow from a TV program called Saturday Superstore. Thank you, everybody. We will see you tonight for a Toyah and Roberts Upbeat Moments, and of course a vintage Sunday lunch tomorrow. Lots of love from me, exciting things to come, and exciting things are about to be announced. Mwah! Take care.
Love and war, I'll never desert you.